travels up into the heart and the lungs, it chokes the arteries. And they can be very young people. And once it reaches the extreme level, they're bedridden. They're on home oxygen. And I'll give you a typical example. A patient from Kerala, he was a scuba diver. And he developed this dreadful condition. And he was on home oxygen, brought to the hospital, virtually had a cardiac arrest. We operated on him as an emergency. Exactly 3 months later, he was scuba diving. Yeah, this is an exciting field. The joy of seeing these people leading a normal life after the heart operation is amazing. And the beauty of being a heart surgeon compared to a cancer surgeon is that we can virtually cure people. It's an amazing experience. You have a little kid who's very blue, and you take the kid to the operating room, do the operation. 4 hours later, you call the mother, tell the mother that, look, your child's operation is over. This is your child. Mother would look at the kid and say, this is not my child. Then you tell her, no, this is your kid. He was very dark before. Now he's fair. That's his original color.
Amazing.
And she touches again, and will he always remain like this? You say, yeah, he's going to remain like this. No other profession you have this dramatic impact on human life. If I had to come back to this world another 100 times, I would do exactly what I'm doing.
Dr. Shetty, I'm going to move a little bit away from obviously the great importance of heart surgery and move on to some other stuff like healthcare. But before I talk about healthcare, I want to ask you about your incredible association with Blessed Mother Teresa. Someone whom I've met, spent some time with, but I always felt when you're with someone like that, you're in the presence of greatness. And your association with her goes back a long way.
Vijay, it was a strange incident happened when I was working in Calcutta. I received a call. I was operating and there was a telephone call in the operating room. Those days there were no mobile phones. And my anesthetist who took the call, he said, they're asking you to visit some patient at home. And I told them that I'm a surgeon. What do I do at home? I won't make any home visit. Then I could hear the caller said, if you visit, it may perhaps change your life. Then I said, all right, I don't mind. Then I realized they didn't want to say that mother was unwell. And so I went to see her as a doctor, but I became her disciple. For me, it's very hard to accept someone like me with flesh and blood to be like God. But believe me, Vijay, she's not like us. She's something different. You can feel the divine presence whenever you're close to her. I never felt that way in any other place or any other personalities in my whole life. It's truly divine, and the lessons I learned and her simplicity, it's truly remarkable. Those are the best part of my life. It really transformed my approach and attitude towards life. Yeah.
Those interesting things that obviously she conveyed to you and said to you as far as saving children and doing free service to children and so on and so forth, and having seen you with children at her place. Must have been an amazing feeling to come away from that experience and then take it through the rest of your life.
See, the thing with the mother, even though she's not with us anymore, I still have all those memories very fresh in my mind. And whenever you go through, problems, difficulties, there is a very interesting statement she made, which is on my table all the time. It's about people, how their reaction towards what you're doing. It's a very long statement. I think it's on her tombstone in mother's house. It's all about people, how they react to what you do. But you have to do what you're supposed to do without really bothering about what they are reflecting on or what you're trying to do. Because the last statement is, in the end, it's always between you and the God, and it is never between you and them. Yeah, that's very soothing statement, because you hear a lot of criticism about mother of late in the newspaper. It's very sad, but she predicted it, few decades ago, that this is the way people react. But you're not doing anything because of they appreciate or they criticize. You're doing it because this is the way to serve God. One simple lesson she taught me, which is, of course, it's one of her famous statements, that the hands that help are more sacred than the lips that pray.
Yes, which was a tremendous statement, resonates with everyone, and it's so true. Do we have that compassion lost in today's society?
I don't think it is lost. I think it was masked for some time, and now it is again getting unmasked, predominantly because we went through a short period of time in the history of this country where to be wealthy, you needed to be doing things not the right way. Today, after opening of the economy, good people could become rich. See, to make a difference to this world, you need to be rich. It doesn't matter what your ideologies are. Without money, you can't make a difference to the society. And today, a lot of good people have become rich. And when good people become rich, money gets utilized for good causes. I have seen this transition. I started begging people to give money for saving these children's heart operation or whatever, all these causes. 25 years ago when I started my journey in India, I used to see the difference. Today, it's amazing how people write a check. You can't believe, Vijay, there is an organization called Have a Heart in Bangalore. The promoters are all small-time traders in Commercial Street. They sponsor 100 heart surgeries on children every month. They're not billionaires. So the concept of giving has come back to this country, fortunately.
Which is wonderful, actually, which is something that the world continues to need to do more of anyway as we move forward. Let's talk, Dr. Shetty, about healthcare. Generally in the global perspective and then perhaps on the Indian perspective, and how we can take it forward. There's a lot of issues about healthcare, the quality of healthcare, the cost of healthcare, the insurance programs, the issue of medical tourism, people coming in because of the costs, a whole slew of things that are associated with healthcare. And needless to say, that in something like surgery that you do, quality cannot be compromised. It has to stay at the top level because you're saving someone's life. So at that point in time, how are you able to reduce the cost?
Vijay, India can become the first country in the world to dissociate healthcare from affluence. India can prove to the world that the wealth of the nation has nothing to do with the quality of healthcare its citizens can enjoy. All our policymakers have to do is to liberate medical education. That's all. You will see amazing transformation in less than 3 years. Because this is the country which produces 50,000 doctors a year. We produce the largest number of doctors in the world. We produce the largest number of nurses in the world. We produce the largest number of medical techs in the world. Outside US, we have the largest one of the largest number of US FDA approved drug manufacturing units. We have everything going for a phenomenal healthcare delivery. But what we lack is the specialist who can reduce the maternal mortality, infant mortality, and offer affordable healthcare in rural India. We are running a city-centric healthcare.
But let me ask you, I don't mean to get sort of layman conversations, but the thing that first comes to mind is the pharmaceutical companies. And are their margins so high that it makes the drugs unaffordable? Because we've got millions of people, as you rightly pointed out, in the rural areas that don't have the ability to buy that kind of drugs. The second issue is the ability of the quality of surgeons and the GPs that are available to go out into the marketplace and to be able to treat these people. You've given us the stats, the number of children who die constantly on a daily basis. Are we able to kind of lock this all into sort of one segment and say, yes, the pharmaceutical companies have to reduce this, and this, and this by the time we actually get that drug to a post-operative care?
Vijay, you'll be amazed at the price of the quality medicines available in this country. No part of the world you can get the medicines at the Indian price at its quality. It is amazing how the Indian drug companies do it, but they have done it. They have mastered it. The problem is there aren't that many hands to prescribe those drugs. That is the biggest problem. We have over 60 million diabetic patients in the country. There are not more than 1,500 diabetologists who can take care of them. So our biggest problem, why there is no explosion in the quality of healthcare, is because we have not that many specialists. We are not converting the doctors into specialists. Because today the message young population has is that unless you are a rich man's son or a daughter, you can't become a doctor, because every young doctor wants to become a specialist. And it is very expensive. It is needless. So in the process, children from poor families are not joining medical college. If children from poor families do not join medical colleges today, Vijay, when we all grow older, when we need operation, you will have third-class doctors operating on us. Because outstanding doctors across the world generally come from deprived background. Because these are the children with the fire in the belly who will work for 16, 18 hours a day. They become phenomenal doctors, and they're not choosing medical profession.
Are we losing medical professionals, doctors, GPs, surgeons, etc., to going overseas?
Yes, they are going there not because of the lure of money. They are going there because of the pursuit of excellence. They want to become specialists, and they can't get a PG seat here. We have, in US, they have 20,000 undergraduation seats in medical college and 40,000 post-graduation seats. We have 50,000 undergraduation seats in medical colleges and only 14,000 post-graduation seats. So after your MBBS degree, you need to spend 2 years to 5 years in Kerala or in Kota, mugging multiple choice questions in those coaching centers to pass the MCQ. So this is the tragedy. And if this is not fixed, we are going in for disastrous consequences.
Well, I mean, obviously, our country is a large country with complicated issues, and the healthcare is something that really needs to be looked at very closely, and someone like yourself is able to drive that both locally with the consumer as well as with the government. Now, the one that you've created, Narayana Health, which is now converted into an incredible conglomerate of some 17 hospitals in different parts of India, and you have a great vision to have something like 30,000 beds across Asia and Africa and all over the world. What drives you? Are you now trying to touch more children and heart patients across the world because it's not available?
Vijay, country requires 3 million beds. So what we are trying to do is nothing. So there is a need. If you go to tier 2, there are 100 towns in India with a population of 500,000 to 1 million where there is no heart hospital. So we are running a city-centric healthcare. We have to go to tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities. And I strongly believe that we have an obligation to help people in Africa, because for them, American and European model won't suit. And like UK, US helped us to create our medical infrastructure by training doctors like us. I'm a doctor today because of the NHS of UK. If they didn't train me, I wouldn't have been a heart surgeon. Those days, there weren't that many heart centers training heart surgeons. And we have an obligation to Africa. So we have to look at things in a larger perspective, produce more doctors, change the whole policies. Then you will notice that India will truly become a superpower.
What would you like to see within your own conglomerate of hospitals that you're expanding on a very incredibly fast-paced basis? Are you having issues with bringing more surgeons in, bringing more specialists in? Is it more difficult? Is it easier? Is it cost-effective to be able to provide this kind of lesser-priced healthcare across rural India?
Vijay, the specialists just don't exist today. So you may arrange the money, you may arrange the land and everything. Simply you don't have that many anesthetists pediatricians, radiologists, gynecologists, surgeons. Simply we don't have. And because there is a shortage, they all prefer to stay in the city. So there will be a serious problem for expansion further unless things doesn't change.
Is the medical profession in India getting both the accolades as well as the help that it deserves from the government?
Medical profession is getting a lot of support from the government. Government wants more hospitals to come up. But then their commitments and the desire for universal healthcare and building great services should get converted into action, and that is not happening. We are not seeing much of an action in terms of policy changes. There are a lot of
সবাই বেশি এটা বিরাট একটা আলোচনা, এটা শুনতে গেলে আপনারা বোরিং হয়ে যাবেন। তবে আমরা এর লিঙ্কটা আপনাদেরকে দিব, কারণ এটার মধ্যে থেকে আপনারা যারা গ্রুপ ভিত্তিক আছেন এইখানকার কি মূল বক্তব্যগুলো উনি বলেছেন সেটা আপনাদেরকে নোট করতে হবে। নোট করে আপনাদেরকে কোনো একটা গ্রুপে বলতে হবে। যেমন উনি একটা আপনাদের জন্য খুব একটা সুন্দর কথা বলেছেন যে খালি আন্ডার গ্রাজুয়েট বা এমবিবিএস হয়ে বসে থাকলে কোনো কাজে আসবে না যদি আপনারা পোস্ট গ্রাজুয়েশন না করেন। একটা সুন্দর একটা কথা বলছে যে পোস্ট গ্রাজুয়েশন করা অবশ্যই গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। তা যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত এই শুধু একজন না আরও পুরা টিম, অ্যানেস্থেটিস্ট, আদার অ্যালাইড সাবজেক্ট যদি এটার সাথে যোগ না হয় তাহলে হেলথ কেয়ারটা আজীবনের জন্য শহর কেন্দ্রিকই হবে। গ্রাম কেন্দ্রিক বা গ্রামের মানুষ কখনোই এই সেবাটা পাবে না। আমাদের বাংলাদেশেও তাই। ঢাকার বাইরে এখন যত হেলথ কেয়ার আছে সব হচ্ছে যে ঢাকার ডাক্তারদের খ্যাপ খেলা। মানে ঢাকার ডাক্তাররা বৃহস্পতিবার দিন যায়, শুক্রবার শনিবার ডাক্তারি করে ফেরত আসে। সুতরাং রুরাল ঢাকার বাইরের হেলথ কেয়ারটা একদম শুধু 2 দিনের জন্য, বাকি 3 দিন বা 4 দিন অলমোস্ট কিছুই পাওয়া যায় না। সেই জন্য সবাইকে টেনে টুনে ঢাকায় নিয়ে আসতে হয়। এনিও এই ভিডিওটা দেখালাম এই জন্য, ওনার আরও বেশ কিছু ভিডিও আছে যেটা নিয়ে উনি কথা বলেছেন। যে মানে এই প্রথমে যে কথাটা বলেছেন যে আসলে মেডিকেল কেয়ারে একটা বৈপ্লবিক পরিবর্তন আনতে হবে। বর্তমানে যেভাবে মেডিকেল এডুকেশনকে দেখা হচ্ছে সেটা দিয়ে আসলে চলবে না। আগামী দিনে ডাক্তার করতে গেলে এটা অনেক পরিবর্তন আনতে হবে। একটা পরিবর্তন আমরা ইতিমধ্যে আমাদের কারিকুলাম বলতে গিয়ে আপনাদেরকে বলেছি যে মেডিকেল হিউম্যানিটিস। উনি যেই কথাগুলো যতগুলো কথাই বলেছেন সবগুলো আসলে পার্ট অফ দ্যাট হিউম্যানিটিস। আপনারা যখন গণস্বাস্থ্য সমাজভিত্তিক মেডিকেল কলেজে আসবেন, আমরা যখন এমবিবিএস পড়েছি আমাদের সোশিওলজি পড়ানো হতো না, ইকোনমিক্স পড়ানো হতো না, অ্যানথ্রোপোলজি পড়ানো হতো না, এথিক্স পড়ানো হতো না, এগুলো কোনো কিছুই পড়ানো হতো না। কিন্তু এখন আপনাদেরকে এই 27তম ব্যাচের কারিকুলাম থেকে এটা পার্ট অফ দ্য কারিকুলাম হয়ে গেছে, যেগুলো আপনাদেরকে পড়তে হবে। কিন্তু এখানে যেটা বলেছে আপনারা ওই সাবজেক্টের মাস্টার হবেন না, আপনারা ওই সাবজেক্টগুলোর যে টেকনোলজি বা নলেজটা সেটাকে কিভাবে মেডিকেল সায়েন্সে ব্যবহার করা যায় সেটাই আপনাদেরকে শেখানো হবে। আমরা ইতিমধ্যে শুরু করেছি কাজটা, এটা খুবই ইন্ট্রোডাকশন মাত্র। আগামীতে আরও আগামী কয়দিন যখন আপনারা এখানে থাকবেন আপনারা আরও দেখতে পাবেন আগামী 1 মাসের মধ্যে আমরা আপনাদেরকে কতগুলো সাবজেক্ট ইন্ট্রোডিউস করে দেব। পরবর্তীতে আপনারা এটাকে আরও বিস্তারিত এই সাবজেক্টের উপর কাজ করবেন। আমি আজকে শেষ করি। সবাইকে কারো কোনো প্রশ্ন আশা করি নাই। ঠিক আছে, খোদা হাফেজ। আপনাদের কারিকুলামের বিষয়ে আপনারা বাংলাদেশ মেডিকেল অ্যান্ড ডেন্টাল কাউন্সিলের ওয়েবসাইটে গিয়েই জানতে পারবেন। হ্যাঁ, কারিকুলামটা ওয়েবসাইট থেকে দেখে নিন। আর আপনারা যেই ইমেলগুলো